For those who don't know, because I see a lot of new faces, it's great. My name is Sue Malik. I'm the catering coordinator here at the Crown Center at Food City. And it's my main responsibility to handle the catering events that we have booked in this room, but I also teach the cooking classes, and I love to do that. I love to cook. I don't think it needs to be rocket science. Let's get people out of the restaurants, out of the fast food, and back into the kitchen. You make it what you want. You know, I love to watch the Food Network. But a lot of times I think people get intimidated. Well, I can't do that. I don't have that ingredient, whatever. Make it what you want, you know, and I think in the slow cooking that really lends itself to going, oh, I don't like this. Well, I'm going to put this in there. I don't really like that, but I'll try this. So it's a good option to try. A little bit, you know, when you're using slow cooking things, and I'm going to go over some things that I found, because tonight, because of the way that the class worked with the slow cooking, I can't fast forward this by 6 hours. So, and you don't need to see me open cans and dump stuff in. You've already seen that, most of you. So I want to go over some of the things about slow cookers, because you do have to, that's why we have the food safety sheet. You do have to know, not what you're doing, but just be aware of some things. The biggest thing about the food safety is you want to make sure that you're heating the food up to at least 140 degrees the fastest you can. And a lot of times, you know, both of these crock pots are mine. This is an older one. Doesn't come out, which is fine. It makes a wonderful potpourri burner at Christmas time. This is, you know, the old-fashioned crock pots are still wonderful. You have to watch what you cook in here, because you don't want to put a big piece of meat that just slides right down here, because you're not going to be able to get it cooked all the way through. One of the things I know in the food safety things, it says you only fill the crock pot between 1/2 and 2/3 full. And if you can see, I'm going to bring this over here now. Let's see. Oh, because I think this is done. If you can see it in the camera, I don't want to take the lid off, which is another thing I'm going to talk about. But you can see where the line is where I've cooked, so it's not completely full. It's, you know, about 1/2 to 2/3 full. I have to put my glasses on. One of the websites I found when I was doing some research on this is called slowandsimple.com, and I thought it was a wonderful resource. It had a whole list of things to be aware of. It also had a ton of recipes. One of the things that I mentioned, I'll just go through these tips and things that I thought were kind of interesting. This crock pot here has, this part's removable, so it's much easier to clean. And that's really the only difference between the liners, if it stays in or it comes out, is the cleaning, because you really don't want to throw this in the water with the plug, especially if it's still plugged in. So that's kind of, it makes this easier to clean. But then, even easier than that, and I've not used these before today, are these wonderful slow cooker liners. And this says it fits anywhere from a 3 to a 6.5 quart round. And I believe this is probably about a 5, and this is probably about a 3. I no longer have the instruction booklets. But this is the size bag that you get with this. Here we go. So it fits, I had it in here earlier, and as you can see, I did make, in here I made the dip. I just put the bag in, put the stuff in, and it came out, bag didn't break. You just put it in, and it just fits around them. And it would fit in this one, of course. No, it doesn't. You know, even though this part, ceramic part's going to get hot, it won't burn the bag. And I had this cooking for, 4 hours. I put it on at 1, took it off at 5, and the bag was fine. And at first, when I started to pull it out, I thought it broke, but actually it was just the size of the bag. And so you feel that little awful slip, like, oh my God. But it was fine. survive the 4 hour, 5 hours of cooking. And I thought this was great. Now, I put that in this. However, I wasn't paying attention before I put everything in here. So that's why this one doesn't have a liner. And I'll be scrubbing that afterwards. Which brings me to another point. When you're cooking like this, this is very hot. The stuff in here is boiling. You do not want to take this and put it in cold water, because you'll automatically have 2 half crock pots, because that will break. And also, one of the things in the safety things, after we're done cooking with this, say you're making a soup or whatever, to just take this out. You don't want to, of course, put it right in your refrigerator, because it's going to wreck the stuff in your refrigerator because it's too hot. But also, because of the ceramic holds the heat for so long, it's not going to cool your food properly. So you do not want to store your cooked food in your crock pot without having it cool down first. So you cool it down, and then if you want to put it back in and put it, as a storage thing, cool the food down, take it out, take the food out, cool the food down. You can put it back in the cooled liner and then store it that way. But you do not want to take this in with the hot food in here, and nor do you want to take it out of the refrigerator the next day and drop it in the crock pot and turn it on, because that will not heat the cooked food up properly. If that makes any sense. Okay, a lot to learn. So slowandsimple.com, very good source. I started talking earlier before we started the class. What one of the food safety things is you want to get this up to 140 the fastest way, and it should be, if you want to test your crock pot, I think they had a thing how to test it to see whether this is, an older one is going to heat the food up to that point. You put the water in, whatever, low for 8 hours. And a low temperature is 200 degrees. The high temperature is 300. I thought that was interesting. Okay. And one of the things you may want to try is, depending on what the recipe is, how much you have in here, to put it on high for about an hour to see if you can get the temperature up to 140, and then you can turn it down to low and finish the cooking. Also, this does not, when you take the lid off, you have to increase your cooking time by 20 to 30 minutes if it's on low. So don't go, oh, I wonder how it is every hour. Oh, I wonder how it is. Because each time you do that, it releases enough heat. If you want to check it, most of the ones have glass tops. You can, if you have this in here, you can swirl it around, drop some of it off. I found if you just kind of wiggle this a little bit, it drops the condensation off, and you can kind of look in there and go, oh, that looks good. It's coming right along. Okay.
That explains why it took me 3 days to cook that chicken.
Yeah. And I'm surprised. Well, I was going to say, I'm surprised you lived to tell about it. And also, you do not want to put, you have to think food safety all the time, especially with a slow cooker. And, especially now that we're hearing all that stuff with the peanut paste, not peanut butter, but the peanut paste. You don't want to put frozen food in here and just drop it in here. You're kind of going at your own risk. If you put frozen food in here and then just plug it in and turn it on, you want to defrost it first and then put it in there. All right, good tips there. Okay, 1 hour on high equals 2 hours on low. All right, did that one. You're cooking with, of course, moist heat, because the moisture does not escape. So your sauces will not, or your juices will not thicken, because you're not, it's just sort of recycling the moisture. So if you want, near the end of your cooking time, to remove the lid and let it sort of keep cooking, that'll thicken up your sauces. Okay. What else I got here? I thought this was really great information. And this is one thing I did not know. The vegetables do not cook as quickly as the meat. So if you're putting vegetables like a chuck roast or whatever, put the vegetables in first and then put the meat on top. And then that'll help the cooking.